to get them back on. So are we ready to get started with today's session? Type 1 in the chat box. We're super excited. And if any other people that you notice were here today and they can't join in, just send them a message like, hey, this is the link. So share the link with them and invite them. And we'll get started. Yay. Okay. Cool. So we are looking at a new way of building businesses. Okay? A new way of building businesses are startup circles, because a lot of times the way entrepreneurship has been taught, I said it yesterday, it's like you're trying to teach your child to ride a bicycle using SMSs. Like it's like looking like if you go and look up a course like how to ride a bike, how effective would that be? Because if you're just reading text, with a bike, you need to practice, sit on the bike, and somebody guides you like, hey, do this, do that, and then you keep going like, oh yeah, now I get it. You cannot learn it by just reading books. You need to do it. Peter Drucker said entrepreneurship is not a science, it's not an art, it is a practice. And I totally believe that. That's why I founded Startup Circles, to help revolutionize the way we teach entrepreneurship, and revolutionize and also democratize access to investors. So by way of introduction, those of you who've never met me before, my name is Sandra Spiri. I'm the CEO and founder of StartupCircles.ai, which is the world's practical business school for entrepreneurs. Practical business school for entrepreneurs. We're very clear on what we do. It's very practical for entrepreneurs, and we focus very much on commercially viable businesses, businesses that make money. We believe that businesses that make money have the power to change people's lives and change economies and help build our society and economies. And when businesses are making money and people are making money, actually it lowers the corruption, lowers a lot of the ills, because a lot of ills are because people are poor, people are broke, and people justify stealing because they need to pay for something or to eat and all of that. But if we're building businesses that actually work, as opposed to businesses that are taking our money, burning our money, and making us poorer, we are going to transform lives. That's what we believe, and that's what we're doing at Startup Circles. So, welcome to today's session. We are super excited to take you on this journey. Okay, so why are investors not easily impressed? Okay, you probably have seen this. Like you've been talking to investors, and the investors are like, okay, almost like, tell me something new, right? They're not excited. You're like, you know what? I found a new way of doing this, and when this works out, it's gonna be, everybody in the world is gonna use it, and it's gonna change people. It's gonna revolutionize. It's the Uber of, and you're just like, okay, send me a pitch deck, or send me a business plan, or send me an email, or just like, you should, like, do something to show me you can make it happen, right? They are not easily impressed. Why? Why are investors not easily impressed? Here are the cold facts. 90% of new startups fail. Think about it. 9 out of 10 startups fail. So think about this. Right now there are 30 people on the call. Only 3 will succeed. 27 are gonna fail. That's how bad it is. It sounds horrible. Like, what? 9 out of 10 businesses are gonna fail. Okay? So if you're thinking about it that way, that 9 out of 10 businesses are gonna fail, then investors are not thinking like your idea is not unique. Okay? Like, just you. That's you. Like, you're not the only one that will just make it work, and things are gonna be different because it's you. Then another fact is 75% of venture-backed businesses fail. Think about it. Venture-backed, because a lot of people think that if I raise investment, then my business will work. If I raise money, only if somebody gave me money, then my business will work. But in reality, the answer is no. And like Mjele is saying, they've seen it all. Okay? They've seen it all, heard it all, but they're looking more for doers. Like, who are the doers? Who are the people who can actually do as opposed to just like talking about ideas? And also in our own lives, right? Those of us who have been entrepreneurs or hang out with entrepreneurs or have been having ideas. Ideas people just have ideas and they've been having ideas for years, but they don't really, very few of them actually put their ideas into, take action on those ideas and try to put things into practice. Okay? Then the third cold fact is under 50% of businesses make it to their fifth year. So think of an entrepreneur, an investor who was invested in companies, has invested in 10, okay, 10 startups, 9 of them fail. So if you invested equal amounts of money, it means they've lost 90% of their money. So they're a little bit more careful now, right? Or they could lose 90% of the money. And then now the companies that have raised money, if again they put money in 100, 75 of them would fail. So they will lose money again. And then now you get to the fifth year, there's more businesses that are failing. Okay? So those are the main reasons. And then a few mistakes that founders make is they think that investors must just give money and not think about why they should give money. Okay? So just think like, okay, you investors are rich people, just give me money, help me out. I mean, come on, you're rich. Like, share, please. Okay. Then another mistake is to just think like, oh, because I'm helping people, my business is helping people, therefore I deserve money. Another, and without thinking about like what the returns. Another mistake is to think that rich people are evil and money is evil. If you're believing that rich people are evil, when you're trying to raise money, you're trying to be rich, right? And like it starts, the model starts to fail. And then also, if you're believing money is evil, you struggle to charge your customers, and also you struggle to build a company that makes a lot of money and becomes rich because you're gonna get that evil stuff. And then for me, actually, what I love, like to ask people who say like money is evil. If money is evil, why do they want it at church, right? Okay, why? Like, if money was evil, why does the papa want the money and papa is so rich? Okay. So, and some other mistakes are not explaining the solution in a few words. This is a big one. There are people who love listening to themselves and they think that the ideas are so complicated, and but there is really no idea that's so complicated that cannot be explained in a few words, including building rockets and sending people to Mars. It's very easy to say, okay? Like, you think that the work that Elon Musk is doing is super complicated. It is in practice, but he's able to explain, like, our mission, the work we do is to make sure that humans are interplanetary species. We help people to move to other planets. Like, wow, I understand that. But if they started saying, oh, you know what we're doing is that we are building these the rocket propelled engines that use the latest technology in AI and machine learning, and I think there's no mention of AI and machine learning in that, but uh, rockets use AI. They self-correct and they do all of that, but there is no mention. So forget big words when you're trying to explain your business. It doesn't mean that it's more exciting. Then another mistake is to think that sending people just thinking just your idea will excite the investors. Like, just my idea is great, give me money for my idea. Like, they hear so many ideas and a lot of people have ideas. Then another mistake is sending business plans or executive summaries and they haven't asked you for it. Like, just explain what you're doing in a sentence, 2 sentences, 1 paragraph, that's it. Another mistake is saying you don't have competition. Another one is talking too much and not listening enough. Okay. Yes, Jason. 1 Timothy 6:10, for the love of money is the root of evil. Not money is evil. Okay? Right. So think about an investor. Imagine you're an investor and you receive a lot of these ideas, a lot of these ideas, and then you also know that if you invest in 10 companies, 9 will fail, and then all 75% will fail. If the 10 companies that approach you, 9 will fail. How would you act? How would you react? Think about that. Like, how would you act? How excited would you be if somebody just come like, "Hi, I've got an idea. Listen to my idea." So put yourself in the investor's shoes. Investors receive like 200 pitches in a day. Yeah, that's a lot of pitches. Okay, and a lot of people don't know how to pitch. Okay, so I'm going to share with you one story by one of our entrepreneurs. This man is a very educated man, very intelligent man. His name is Dr. Chitalu Musonda. He's a PhD in chemistry. Chemistry, like he makes medicine, like wow. So he learned entrepreneurship. He went to Wharton Business School, but after Wharton, he came to Startup Circles and like learned so much. But let's listen to his story. Let's go with Dr. Chitalu.
Thank you for this invitation. So I'm the founder of Delta Chem based in Zambia. We produce organic honey. Our method that makes it stand out from the rest is we trying to use methods that improve efficiency and obviously cut down costs, therefore improving our economics and profitability. All right, so my background is in science. I studied for my first degree back in Zambia at the University of Zambia in biology and chemistry. And then I came to UCT to do my PhD in organic and medicinal chemistry. After which I worked for 2 years at Pfizer in the UK, and then I came to Joburg. I worked for 5 years, and then took my last job at UCT 2013 to 2014. And then I had to leave for family reasons to move to Pretoria. In the process, I'd always wanted to get something going. So as a student, I had something going on the side, besides the scholarship that I had just to make ends meet. And that just continued with me everywhere I went. When I was working, I always had something on the side. So in after I left work in 2017, besides the consultancy business that I ran on the side, I decided with a friend to register a company back in Zambia called Delta Chem. I had a chat with you about startup circles. So just prior to my chat with you about the startup circles, I just finished an entrepreneurship program with the Wharton Business School. It's an online program that was offered over a 4-month period. Yeah. So I remember, I think it was about 3 or 4 weeks just after finishing that program. And we had a chat about startup circles. I was seeing startup circles on LinkedIn, but I had absolutely no idea what startup circles was all about.
And before deciding to enroll into startup circles, what were some of your biggest skepticism or hesitation?
Here I was thinking, I've just finished a program in entrepreneurship with the Wharton Business School. It's probably one of the biggest business schools in the world, hands down. So I'm thinking, what is it that startup circles can offer better than what Wharton offered me on the program? I try to compare, and I'm thinking, it's a new company. This is an established organization. They probably know what they've been doing the last 100 years better than what startup circles, which is just under a year old, would offer me. So I thought I'll just be going over the same things that I just finished going through, and what was more, I had access to all the study material, videos to refer back to if I wanted to understand something better. So I thought I'll just be doing the same things, which was not going to be a very good way to invest my time. Yeah.
And when you got into startup circles, how did those perceptions change?
Yeah. So the first thing that made me decide, first of all, to enroll, to enroll with startup circles was something that you mentioned. You did say in our conversation that the focus at startup circles is not really the theory, but about the practical aspects of business. And when I look back at what I just completed, and not just with the program at the Wharton Business School, but with other short programs that I'd done before, the focus was a lot more on the theory about what you need to do, not really what you need to do, what you need to know about maybe a topic, about something in business. So you get bombarded with all this information. But I remember you mentioned that Startup Cycles was all about getting to do things. So getting off your seat, going in the field, doing things, and coming back to report and measure your progress. And that is a really big missing step in most of the business schools that a lot of people, including myself, have attended. The focus is so much on the theory. Nobody cares if you are actually going out in the field to do what you are supposed to be doing, and most importantly, taking a measure of what you're doing.
That's what we do at Startup Cycles, like helping you to work on the things that matter, and that matters to your specific business. And I'm glad that you did the work. You're a very educated man, very intelligent man, but extremely humble as well, that you just take in the feedback and take notes and go and do the work and come back like, this is what I've done, or what do I do here, and then just go back and forth. For me, it was amazing to watch and seeing like how you just take that in and put it into practice.
I always believed in the theory that we can learn from everybody, regardless. It doesn't matter what your background is. It doesn't matter what you know. It doesn't matter what you've done. It doesn't matter where you've been. There's always something you can learn from the next person. And for me, I know, because of my background, my very technical background, I know my shortcomings on the business side of things, which is what I've been trying to get into the last 2 years.
Let's see. And what's one specific takeaway, one or two specific takeaways that you got from the program that's impacted your business or your life?
There'll be a number of things there, to be honest, Anders. So first of all, I learned, one of the most important lessons I learned was that when you start a business, you don't always need money. You don't always need outside money to get your business off the ground and get it running and profitable. Also, the timing is very important, the timing at which you ask for the funding. So you ask for funding too early, you're giving away your baby, most of your baby, at very early stages. I didn't know all of those things. The only important thing to me was being able to raise capital and getting started. Being able to raise capital, I mean, most entrepreneurs want to start big. That's why we all go out and ask for money, because we want to start big and make an immediate impact. But I learned that you have to start small, because you're going to make mistakes and the chances of failing are high. So rather make mistakes very early on. And if you fail with small losses. I've learned other skills that I didn't, well, I've got other information that I didn't have before, and I've used the information to my advantage. I've got new skills, surprise, surprise. I've got basics of graphic design, so I can design my own labels. I'm actually doing a label right now.
Oh, nice.
Thanks to Startup Cycles, I don't have to pay someone $100 for a label that takes me a day to make anymore. Unnecessarily complicated like your logos. I can help people. I help people with their CVs, the contemporary formats which look very aesthetic. If I hadn't come to Startup Cycles, I wouldn't have had that knowledge to begin with, and I wouldn't have those skills. But most importantly, if I need to make money on the side, I can use those skills and charge people for the services. It actually saves me a lot of time, not just money. It saves me a lot of time having to do some of the things myself.
Yeah.
Like labels, graphic designers won't tell you they've got 5-6 jobs on the tables. And they're always going to delay your work, even when your matter is urgent. But with my new skills, I can do it on my own. If something is very pressing, I'll just dedicate my time and make sure I have it done on a specific day or by a specific deadline. I've gained information which I'm going to use to my advantage the rest of my business life. If I need to raise capital for any other projects in the future, I now understand and know the language that investors want to hear. what sort of details you need to present to them, what sort of details you need to leave out. So it's just not for this specific purpose, but in the future, if and when I need to raise money for any other venture from investors, particularly, I'll do it much more ease. And if I have to apply for funding, my application content will be very different to what it was before. Before I joined Startup Circles, my understanding of things was from a technical background was you answer things the way I would answer in a technical document, but it's very, very different the way you'd answer in a business document. And I was humbled when I got my feedback on my first application for the SHIP fund. Yeah, but eventually it all made sense that this is business, this is not science. But this is the language you need to speak. It's very, very different.
You're right. Like, we've got a lot of people complaining, saying, you don't give us enough time to explain what a business is about. We got somebody in the last application who got very angry to say there wasn't enough space. Right?
That was my first. My first, actually, when I got my feedback was, I was given so little space to explain something in terms of the number of words that I could have put in, and yet I was being asked to provide a lot more information. But you can only know that once you've been through the process.
Exactly. Yeah. Because investors are looking at hundreds of applications. Can you explain what your business is in one sentence?
Yes, very important. You need to catch the attention with your very, very first sentence of your paragraph.
Yes. And
if you don't, everybody's going to be lost.
That's right. And what would you say to someone who's considering joining Startup Circles but is on the fence right now?
I would tell them, don't waste your time. Forget everything that you've learned. Humble yourself. You're going to do things that are very different from what you've been doing. You're going to learn so much more information, and you're going to get opportunity to network with people from across the continent, different backgrounds. They're going to give you feedback which no one has ever given you. So please don't waste time. I'm glad I made the journey. It's changed my life. It's changed my thinking, and it's going to change everything that I'm going to do business-wise. So I would encourage anybody interested. I'm not sure if you go beyond Africa, but anyone across the continent should be doing this, because I know, coming from my own background, it's very difficult for people in Africa to pay the sort of money that Western countries demand. But the fees at Startup Circles are very beyond affordable. They're very, very affordable. If you're really serious about the business you're doing, it's an investment whose return is 1,000,000% back. So I would encourage anybody to join Startup Circles.
Excellent. Type 1, if that was inspiring. Like, Dr. Chitalu has built an amazing business, and for him, like, all the time that he's put in learning science, realize that when you're talking business and talking investment, like I mention all the time, it's like just learning a different language, right? If you're not communicating in a language that the people you want to talk to understand, it doesn't matter how brilliant what you're saying is. It's like, just don't understand it. Like, they're not getting what you're saying. So that's really, really cool. That's amazing. Amazing. Great. So now I'm going to talk about the 4-factor formula. The 4-factor formula. This is a quick way in which investors evaluate businesses, but you can also use that to evaluate yourself. So this is the formula which I put together, building onto what other people have put together in terms of like the driver and the vehicle, but now there's the road and the weather. And this is looking at it in terms of like, there is the entrepreneur, there is the business, there's the market, there's the environment. Okay? The driver is the entrepreneur, the vehicle is the business, the road is the market, and the weather is the environment. what are the things that we look for, or that investors look for in the entrepreneur? You're looking for resilience. Resilience is the ability to just bounce back, right? It's like just to come back when things are not working, or things are not working according to plan. Like, can you stay the course? So there are a lot of entrepreneurs who say, "Yeah, one day help me here, do this," and they're not resilient when things just hit. They get hit by something that doesn't work, then they give up. They're out, like they're out of the game. And then teachability. This is a big one because as entrepreneurs, a lot of us are naturally stubborn. You know, we we want what we want, and we're very sure about ourselves. That because of that, it's very difficult to teach a lot of entrepreneurs. But here, I'll say something that I mentioned yesterday again, is that you need to be in love with the problem you're trying to solve, and then don't be so in love with the method. Like, a lot of people are obsessed with the method of solving something. So it's like saying, I want to go, the mistake people make is that I want to go to Dubai through Joburg. And then if I can't go to Dubai through Joburg, then I'm not going to Dubai, right? Like, do you have to go through Joburg? But because that's what I know, right? Or I want to go to Joburg from Cape Town through the N1, and then the N1 is blocked. Do I just like, okay, I'm not going there, or I try to fight with the road and fix the N1, or I find workarounds? So it's the same. So a lot of times when you're looking at a product, products are a means to an end. Okay, your product is how you deliver your solution. So if you're really thinking about the problem that you're trying to solve, you can think of multiple solutions, multiple iterations on how to deliver it. As an example for Startup Circles, how we started and how we're delivering the course is very different, but we know our problem. The problem we want to solve is, how can we help as many entrepreneurs as possible know how to get investor ready, and also get them in front of as many investors as possible. In the end, we want to help them raise money. And by doing that, like, the methods vary. We use Zoom, try different things, we use different platforms and different, we use Facebook, YouTube, different methods of trying to achieve that goal. Whether it's coaching, it's courses, standalone, guided, all of that. But the aim is, how do we help entrepreneurs raise money and build businesses that are valuable? And with that, when you know the destination, the method can vary. So think about that. If you're stuck, like, I want my MVP to work, like, think about it. Like, is it the MVP or the particular solution? Okay, I want people to pay me for this. Like, what is it? They just paying you for that, or the solution that you are actually providing? Then there is also resourcefulness. Resourcefulness is, can you show that you can make things happen with the little that you've got? Or how can you do what you can where you are with what you have? When you show that, like, people who are living in places which don't have a lot of resources, when they've done something, it's even more impressive. Where people are like, how did you do this? No, I did it by manually every day. I was calling people and doing this. Like, wow. Or I just put this together, and then, or I called people. I was going there one by one, just recruiting people. That shows resourcefulness. Then another one is hunger. Hunger cannot be taught. Like, you need to be hungry. Like Les Brown says, you gotta be hungry. Like, what do you want? How badly do you want it? Like, if you don't have the hunger, people can feel it. Entrepreneurs can feel it. And hunger is also tied to passion and focus. So, in addition to looking at product market fit, do you have passion product fit, or passion product solution fit? In other words, when investors go to, when you talk about your solution, investors go to your Facebook, to your Twitter, to your LinkedIn. What do they read? If you're saying that, look, I really love agriculture, agri-tech, and then they go to your LinkedIn, you're talking about um, fishing, like, no, fishing is good, it's in agri, but you're talking about um, energy, or you're just talking about things that are completely unrelated. People see that, So you need to be congruent. They need to see if you're saying I'm passionate about education. If I go to your Insta, what are you posting? What are you posting on Facebook? What are you posting? What do you fight about? What gets you charged or worked up and things that like fuel you and you get energized to do something about? What do you post on your WhatsApp status? We look at all of that and people see that, yeah, this person lives, breathes, you know, what they're talking about. If you're saying you love fintech, but all your posts are soccer, you're like, no, no, actually, you're more passionate about soccer than you are about your company. Okay? You love Manu more than you love your company. It's all very visible from what you post. Okay? So looking at the driver, you see like these are two different types of drivers, and entrepreneurs evaluate that. I mean, investors evaluate that. Say, okay, can this driver? How fast can this driver go? How skilled is this driver? And question, I would like you to type in the answers there. How much are your ideas worth? How much are your ideas worth? Type the answer in the chat box. How much? How much? How much are your ideas worth? Okay. I love listening to different answers that people give for this. How much are your ideas worth? I've got an idea. How much is your idea worth? Right? Type in the chat box. Let's see. Okay. So some people say ideas are worth millions. Other people say ideas worth zero. Okay. Other people saying it depends. Cool. So type your answers. We want to see. So don't worry. Max won't be deducted for the wrong answer. Your ideas actually are worth nothing. Okay? Your idea is worth zero. Stop obsessing about your idea. And the people who actually obsessed with ideas are actually broke. So your obsession with your idea is actually making you broke because you're not taking action, because you're waiting to take perfect action and you can't talk to people about your idea because and then they can't give you feedback, and because you love your idea so much that just this idea, and in your mind you're making so much money and you're rich, in reality you're broke. So if you're broke right now, chances are you're stuck with an idea that you think, if only somebody gave me money and everything would change. In reality, the answer is no. They won't give you money because you're not executing. Okay? And you're not executing because you just thinking about that one idea, and the idea is so complex, it's so big, and it's $1 million idea. And you just like every time, just the idea, like, no, take some action. So what makes ideas worth something is execution, execution, execution. Yes, Jason, yes, execution and consistency is more valuable. So right now, there is no shortage of ideas. There is a shortage of executors. People will just make things happen. Okay? So at startup circles, if you come like, look, I do this, I've got this wonderful idea. Oh, cool, let's do it. Show us. Okay, like, yeah, show us. And then people say like, will this work? Like, don't know. Will it work? I ask you, because you're the one to do it. You're the one to show us if it can work. Okay. Stop obsessing over your idea, obsess over the problem you're solving, and take relentless action. How about this as a tweetable quote? Okay. Then the next part is the business. Business needs to be scalable. We talked about that. Scalable means it can grow. You can produce a higher output without increasing your input in a significant way. Then it also needs to have traction. Like, have you shown some results that your business is going somewhere? And your business also needs to have a competitive advantage. Like, is it something that other people can just quickly do and you're then out of business? Okay. These are examples of examples of different types of vehicles. Okay. Exactly, better. Like, never marry the idea. Okay. Then another thing is that solve real problems. Here's the sentence that I hear versions of all the time. I want to build a blockchain based AI app that prepares companies for the fourth industrial revolution. I'm like, huh? What did you just say? Like just stringing together big words doesn't make your idea great. Okay, so when you have an idea, stop calling your ideas your babies. They are not your babies. It's hard to kill a baby, or it's hard to get rid of a baby. So, and it's also hard to ask people what they think about your baby, because everybody thinks their baby is cute. Everybody thinks their baby should be put on Instagram. No, not all babies should be put on Instagram. Okay? They are cute babies, but they're also ugly babies. We're just not allowed to say it, but they are. Okay? So, but if you're calling your idea my baby, people won't tell you, like, ish, your baby is ugly, eh? They will not say that. They'll just say, yeah, cool, cute. Okay? So it's okay, yes. Oh my gosh, we love your baby. you know, so do not call your ideas babies. Instead, call them experiments. When you're carrying out an experiment, even just when you're starting your company in the early stages, call it an experiment. So when we started out, we were just experimenting and just like learning, like what's working, what's not, and we can change, and we could change. Sometimes at startup cycles, we change our what we're working on. Like in a day, in the morning we start, it's not working, then we change it again and change it again, because they're experiments, and so we experiment very quickly. Okay. And if we're calling them babies, oh my gosh, wonder how many babies would have by now. Like, I've got my babies, I can't kill my babies. But experiments we kill, we discard results that don't work. Like, okay, failed, 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 failed. Oh, cool, this is working. Let's do it again. Okay. Then the market. The market needs to be like, what problem are you solving? It needs to be a pervasive problem. It's a problem that impacts a lot of people. And also, it should be trending upwards, not trending down. There are certain trends, there are certain businesses where the general trend is down. If you're saying, I want to set up a bookstore, investors will look at you and say, okay, that's not investable right now because the general trend is down. People are not buying more books, they're buying less books. Magazine publishers are closing down globally, they're going digital, but even digital, they're not reading magazines the same way. Okay? Then it needs to be a large market. Again, competitive advantage. Okay, different types of roads. And different type of roads also require different types of cars and drivers. Okay, then the weather. These are things that like you can't really predict, right? Yes, the environment. Since COVID-19, things have changed. Now we have to change our businesses and how we do things. Okay, that's part of the weather, like the different type of investors and where they are and what they do, what they look at, and politics. Like you're in a country where the politics don't allow, or they don't allow you to make certain type of payments. Like all of those are things that impact your business. And people can say, oh, wow, we love you as a driver. We love your car. Oh, this road looks good, but the weather, your country conditions, it's difficult to invest in your country or outside or to take money out of a country. Then you need to have answers and think about that as an entrepreneur and say, the workaround is when the weather has changed, we put on different type of tires to adapt to the weather. That's what you do. Okay? If it's politics, then like how do you navigate those politics? With the weather, you need to adapt. Okay. This is an interesting road, you see, like, and then the road and the weather, and then you got the different types of vehicles. That's super, super cool, right? Okay. So, in a nutshell, what are investors looking for? They are looking for growth potential, but growth potential means something can grow big, but more important than that is scalability. Can it grow big without having to take on too many resources again because it needs to produce returns? And then they are looking for great horses and great jockeys, which are great drivers and great cars. Okay, well, great cars and great drivers. Then they are also looking for to see whether you understand your value proposition. Do you know why people are buying from you? Then the last thing, very, very important, is traction. traction. Okay. Do you have the traction that matters? Can you show that your business is going somewhere? So this is the formula. Rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 in the 4 areas, then divide by 40, multiply by 100%. You get your score. It just helps you gauge, okay? It's not like all investors are using this formula. I put this formula together, but really they will look at these different areas for you, and then we'll think about how attractive your business is. So write this down. Put a rate yourself there. So the closer you are to 100, the better. Yeah, the closer you are to 100, the better. Okay. Once again, there is no shortage of money for investment. There is a shortage of investable businesses. Okay. And remember to type in your questions in the chat box. And as you're typing your questions in there, we're going to also talk about the 9 areas that investors look at. Okay, 9 areas that investors look at. But before we do that, we'll quickly learn from Kaylee. Kaylee is another entrepreneur that came onto our program with an idea, and she learned very quickly and also managed to raise money within the 3 months of the program. And when she raised, she got an investment offer on demo day. Like, how cool is that, on demo day? And she was like, oh, okay, because it's still an idea and put in everything I need. She actually left the call. We had to, afterwards, the investor say, like, where's Kelly? We want to make an offer to Kelly. Like, Kelly, Kelly had got off the call and was looking for Kelly. Like, come back to the call. Come back. And Kelly came back on and like, oh, can we make you this offer? And like, yeah, I was very happy. So this is the conversation that we had with Kelly. And by the way, today we might go a little bit over the time that we originally said that we would run up to half past 9. I mean, half past 7. But the last piece of the information will really be critical. And if you have to leave, just make sure you come back and watch the replay, because we are going to talk about the 9 areas that investors look at, and also how to launch. How can you launch without money? Okay, how to launch fast, and how to launch with limited budget. So type your questions in the meantime and listen to this inspiring story of Kelly.
Hi, Kelly. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Sandras?
I'm good. I'm good. Excellent.
I like your t-shirt.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. One of my faves. They told me orange actually is the color that usually goes very well with me. So I love orange.
AI. Nice. Merch.
Kelly, tell us about your business.
Sure. So I am one of 3 founders at Aya Africa. Aya is like an Etsy, although we will differentiate in the way we approach sales. But it's a marketplace that allows small-scale creative goods makers to own a shop or to control a shop within a bigger e-commerce framework. Yeah.
And what's
Aya in a nutshell.
Okay, what's the URL? What's your website address?
You'll find us at aya.africa. Financial return, right?
Exactly.
So that's been a major breakthrough. Major. I mean, I'm sitting this weekend with spreadsheets for 3 years, financial projections. And it's when you break through a little bit, then you start to understand it all.
Brilliant.
And I actually like it now. I actually like it.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
You were one of the amazing examples that you got into the program, and from month 1 you started making big differences. We see when you where sometimes we founders sometimes struggle, especially with what you just said, the 2 sides. Like, I'm thinking, I want to do this, but they're saying I need to add in this, but this takes away from this, instead of blending them to see where you create a commercially viable business.
Yeah.
But you ran with it. Every month we were seeing differences in your pitch, that when you did your final pitch, actually every week there was improvement. And when you did your final pitch, you were one of the early ones that actually got investment. So, or, I mean, got an offer. It was like, oh, wow. But the most impressive thing was you did the work, which was really, really great.
And it's hard work. Like even now with the projections, like it is hard work because you can see, you can project prospectively and you can get things like customer acquisition costs and all of that from industry average or percentage of projected revenue. But then when you're in the business, you can need to be sitting, seeing how much your real life is actually or looking like those sheets. And it's the thing that the breakthrough for me is the cash is the business. And as visionaries want to think that the business is something else, the vision adds to the cash flow, but if it's not, it doesn't count. So that's a major breakthrough, and it's a good one because I don't know why we didn't know when we were younger why entrepreneurs don't think like that. But when you do start to, then I think it adds to your power.
Brilliant. And I think that's why we started Startup Circles. Like, how do we simplify? You're right. Like I did an MBA as well, and I couldn't market sizing. I finished. I didn't know how to do. Like, how do you do this market sizing? It sounds like you just pick a number and just say, "Oh, there are 1.1 billion people in Africa. We're going to hit 10% of that." Like
exactly.
And then that's it. But
and it's good when you see how it's actually helping you. So it's not like a lot of projections. I think a lot of people or a lot of entrepreneurs will say, "Oh, these financial projections, like I need to do them. It's never going to work out." But it is actually a very valuable exercise because it teaches you where your cash flow is coming from, the percentage that you need to look at, where you need to cut costs. So it's actually teaching you to just think like a business person, even if spreadsheets don't make sense and you don't hit them, the fields on them are still good.
And we actually just say back of the envelope mathematics. So like you notice on the program, we don't ask for projections, but we teach you just to understand like how much do you make each time you sell something. So which is just your unit economics, and that using that you can make your projections. But as a business owner, just need to understand that if I buy this and I make this, I'm making so much in it. And if I'm to ask you about before deciding to enroll into Startup Circles, what was your big skepticism or hesitation?
Did I have a hesitation before enrolling? So I actually applied for the Shift Fund because I wanted to change the world during a revolution that I thought was happening in the world. Well, it is a minor revolution at the moment because everybody's listening. So I thought it would be a good time to launch a business now with a bit of a difference. So I saw the Shift Fund. So I didn't actually have a hesitation. I'm a bit, my personality seems to more learn when I'm in things. So I did it, and then I realized, wow, this is actually really hard. But then I just got more and more committed. So I actually maybe don't always, I don't always see, like, I don't really have a hesitation, if that makes sense.
Great. And what impact will Startup Circles program have in your business or your life in the next 12 months? What do you think that will do for you?
Well, we hopefully going to pass due diligence to get investment and then trial a range of A/B digital advertising. So we really need to use it to trial ads in like a research capacity. So we need to actually figure out where our market lies, right? So it will definitely allow us to assess where the market lies. But it's also just really amazing to have a sounding board. So it's amazing to know that there's people that know what you're doing, that understand what you're doing, that you can reach out to and say, hey, you know what, we're really stuck here, or we needing to understand this part of the business, and if you have investors that are invested in it, well, then it makes it, and also coaching, it makes it a much more of a no-brainer, right? So you all working together. So look, I hope we go into Founders Forum and learn more of the detailed aspects of business. From our side, I gather it would be like a lot of digital advertising stuff that I hope we learn about. How to lower that customer acquisition cost. But also the softer skills I think you learn in situations like this. And it's also a mental game. And when you're surrounded by other entrepreneurs, they reaffirm that it's normal.
Yeah.
That's the main part, is to not surround yourself by people, I would say, that are saying, don't do this. Don't give it a try. But by people who say, do it, but here are the boundaries. So it's wild. It is a crazy thing to do entrepreneurship, but here's how.
Yes, and yeah, you're absolutely right. Like entrepreneurship can be lonely, and so you
Yeah.
have people who understand you, say you're not crazy. And
Yeah,
when you're going through a law, you have other people like me too, and that was yesterday. But look, do this, and we all
exactly.
go.
Yeah, it's as you say, in those big offices where people work, you know, there's a bunch of chartered accountants and there's a bunch of lawyers and there's a bunch of guys all dealing with certain aspects of a case. But one, entrepreneurship will never lend itself to that because you're solving a totally different problem, right? So unless you bring like all of the people together that are solving a similar problem, which usually it won't be, because you won't solve something that other person's solving, because then you'd be like too much competing directly. So yeah, I think you're a lot on your own, figuring stuff out, being rejected. So, stuff out.
The story of the entrepreneur. And
Rejected.
yes. And Kelly, what would you say to someone who's considering joining or signing up to Startup Circles, but they're on the fence right now?
Yeah, do it. Because if you're going to do a business, this is only the start. So if you can get through the Startup Circles program and you still want to do it, then at least you know you're on the right track. I think entrepreneurship is very romanticized with a lot of the advertising in South Africa. Those big whiskey brands, they like to put entrepreneurs at the face, drinking whiskey, doing their thing, and behind the scenes is very different. So I think do the program that makes it somewhat more realistic. And then if you still want to do it after that, it's the right thing for you. But I think, you need the realistic understanding, and the Startup Circles gives you what you're actually going to be doing, I would say. But it's not dragged out in a textbook. It's like practical, short course. You will know, I want to do this, or you will actually know my idea has traction, or my idea, I need to change.
Absolutely.
So Startup Circles is going to force you not to waste your time, which is good. I think we're moving into the world where entrepreneurship is going to be one of the main careers. Just within the fourth industrial revolution, I do think a lot of the jobs are going to be being replaced with tech. So a lot of the conventional professional jobs. So I think a lot of the professionals need to start thinking in the realm of entrepreneurship. So how do you use the existing tech systems that are being built to piece them? Now it's like a puzzle. You don't actually have to build your own tech, but you have to piece them together into new solutions that better serve humanity than the prior industrial revolution. So yeah, that's my understanding of where we're at in the world at the moment. And I think it's really exciting, but I just hope that the people that become entrepreneurs and obviously start building the new systems are thinking of inclusivity, especially in Africa. So become an entrepreneur now is a good time to do it. The digital divide is real. We need social entrepreneurs in South Africa, and there's a lot of gaps. So yeah, do it. It's hard, but it's also going to be the only job of the future. So I think you should start sooner than later.
Excellent. How cool is that? Okay, well done. Type 1 for Kelly for building, like just running through the program and then building a company and raising investment. So check out aya.africa, which is like really cool. And now we're going to look at how do you launch fast with little or no budget. Who's excited about this? How do you launch fast with little or no budget? So this is a part where, excuse me, a lot of people are asking like, how do I need money in order to start, or I need to build an MVP, or I've built an MVP but I'm not making money, but I need money in order to start, make money from what I've started doing. So if you think about it, if you want to start with little or no money, the best way to start is actually when you're thinking like you don't have money, and then thinking commercially from the get-go. So one other mistake which I didn't put in there is that mistake that entrepreneurs make is actually when you ask them about the ideas, they're not thinking about money. They're like, what's your idea? How are you going to make money? Like, okay, that part, so that if you're not thinking about money, it's a hobby. And nothing wrong with hobbies. Just know it's a hobby. Okay, it costs money, it doesn't make any money. Yeah, they're expensive hobbies. So, but if it's a business, think about how does this business gonna make money for us and be sustainable. And then if I'm approaching investors, also they want to know like how it's gonna make money, but enough money for you and for the investors as well. So think of it as how it's gonna make money from the get-go, and you can start thinking about the pricing from the get-go. Okay, when you're starting with your idea, don't be precious about your ideas. Talk to people right away about your ideas. Share your ideas. A lot of people are afraid, like people steal my ideas. People won't steal your idea. If your idea was easy to steal, it wasn't a great idea to begin with. Okay, and if your idea is easy to steal and easy to execute, it wasn't a great idea. So the difference is actually the execution. You don't have to be first. Facebook wasn't the first. There was MySpace, High Five. Who remembers all of those, right? Google wasn't the first. There was Alta Vista, Yahoo, all of those search engines. So being first is not the most important thing. Okay? It's how do you execute? How do you beat your competition? Think of the pricing right away, and then when you're going out, when you're starting out like that, think about the problem and the solution. So first is problem solution fit. At Startup Circles, when you join us in the launch program, we ask you about that. What problem are you solving? And we ask that question repeatedly until when you get it, like, this is the problem I solve. It opens up like a new aha moment. Just like, no wonder I've been struggling to sell, or now I see why people are selling, and then you emphasize that. Okay? So, if, for instance, if I say, look, I'm selling fitness shoes. Initially, if I'm starting out saying, like, I got running shoes, and then you ask me, like, okay, who's your target market? How are you going to make money? I'll go, running shoes, I'll target all the people that are overweight because running will help them to lose weight, and keeping fit, going to the gym will help them to do that. Like, cool. So, my market is people that are overweight. Then we say, okay, cool, let's go. Go out in the afternoon, talk to your target customers. Then you start doing customer interviews. Say, hey, how are you? I'm working on this. I'm working on this idea. I'm running around with some ideas in my head, and I wanted to interview you. Do you have time for an interview? They'll tell you yes or no, and then you start asking the question, and then you start verifying your assumption. So your assumption one is that people will buy your shoes. The shoes that you've designed would be they'll buy your shoes and they'll be running in your shoes. And you ask them, do you wear certain type of shoes, or what type of shoes do you wear when you're running? And then also, or do you run, right? And then you realize from your questions, if somebody says, no, I don't go to gym, I don't run. And then you realize, okay, my target market is different. It's not what I thought it was. Then you modify and you modify. Before you build anything, before you build your shoes, your running shoes, then you realize a lot of times people make the mistake of, I'm going to sell fitness equipment to unfit people. But in reality, it's like, no, don't sell fitness shoes to unfit people. Unfit people don't use fitness shoes. They don't. Okay? So you sell gym membership and fitness, running, all of that to fit people. Because fit people are the ones who do fitness things. And that's a little counterintuitive when you're starting out. Like, okay. So it's already people who are using stuff that are going to buy. So when you're starting out, don't try to convert people. Go to where the market is. Okay? So that's something you then do in the process when you're starting out. Then next, you can also now test out your pricing. You say, hey, I've got this new solution for, if you said, I've got a solution for weight loss, okay? I love the weight loss thing. So easy examples for me. Like, I don't know. I just love that. So if you're saying, like, look, I've got a solution for weight loss, and the weight loss solution is, I'll feed you vegetables, I'll feed you broccoli or cabbages for 1 month. And scientifically, yes, if you eat veggies or broccoli or cabbages for a month, yes, you're going to lose weight, right? So there is the problem solution fit. Then we want now to know, like, this problem, yes, you're solving the weight loss problem with your solution. Does your customer agree with your solution? Say like, hey, do you want to lose weight? Yes. Ask me how, right? Cool, I'm gonna feed you cabbages. You're like, no, you're on your own. I'm not doing cabbage for a month. Like, I'll keep my weight. Okay, so people can refuse your solution because it's not fitting how they want it to work. Like, I don't want to suffer, to achieve that. So just getting the problem solution fit. So you keep asking questions around that until you get to a point where somebody says, actually, I actually love doing this. I've done it in a way that's kind of working. So the best clients are the ones that have actually put together some form of solution. Like, oh, I did this and that and that and that. So you're saying I can do that easier, and then say yes. Then now you start getting that problem solution fit. Then next, asking on price. So some people say, I'll send a survey, and the survey would be, we check whether you can pay 100 rand, 150 or 200. We encourage you to just do, first of all, don't send surveys. You need to do face-to-face interviews because you will listen more, and then you can ask why. Why is that? Why do you do that? And people will tell you why they do what they do, which will make you understand that, that's why they don't want to do this, because it doesn't fit in the way their house is, or the way their computer is, or where they are. There's no data, because everybody says, okay, now let's have a mobile app that everybody should use in Africa. And then when you go into the market, like, okay, in my village in Katete, you can't download anything. And now you understand, the customers hasn't used anything because there is data problems. So when you're working with the people, you get to understand that. So when it comes to pricing, talk to them, talk to the people, ask, what would you pay for this? Okay, would you pay for this? That's the question. Some people tell you, no, I can't pay for that. Like, why? So when I was starting startup circles, I asked different people, like, would you pay for a program that teaches you this? And some people say, no, I wouldn't. And I asked, like, why was that? And like, oh, no, I already get this. My company pays for any of these programs and conferences. I wouldn't pay for anything extra. Oh, cool. Other people say, oh, yeah, I would pay. Like, how much would you pay? And they said, in my mind, I was thinking under 100 rand, because it doesn't ping in your SMS. Like when you do something like under the transaction is under 100 rand. And when I asked it an open-ended, saying how much would you pay for this, it went all the way from 250 to 750 to 1,000 to 10,000. It's like, oh wow, and then to 20,000. All of that, like getting real feedback from people, and then you can ask further to say, what do you think? If you don't ask that type of question, you can ask, what do you think will be an appropriate price for what I'm offering? People will tell you, like, oh, I think this and that. Okay, so that's how you can do it. Then now to the actual launch. Before you build anything, you can just create a website. And again, before you build a website, you can just post on your Facebook, say, hey, I am doing this, or I'm selling this, or I'm producing this type of service, and then gauge the interest. Already people will tell you, like, oh, I'm interested. Do you have it? Like, okay, cool. People are ordering stuff I haven't made yet. Okay, same thing. Even in our programs, the way we shaped them, we were selling them before we made them. Like, there's certain programs we sold, nobody bought. We never made them. Otherwise, the traditional way is we make, try to sell, it doesn't work, we spend more money on Facebook ads, it doesn't work, we spend more money, then afterwards we give up, and we go broke like that. So sometimes people are saying, but what I need requires a big prototype, a big machine to show that it can work. You need to show, if you know that it requires some money to start to show that it can work, just contact some people who can build you even a prototype, or you can just draw it. I used to sell websites like that when I started out my first business. I learned that I could just copy a good website, just screen capture, and that time we're using Macromedia Fireworks. And then in Fireworks, I change the colors and stuff and put in their company's logo, and then go to their meeting to say, oh, I could build this website for you like this. They go, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. Oh my gosh. And they want to click. Like, no, it's not clickable yet. Oh yeah, for this we can pay. And then like, cool. And then I say, okay, to start, you pay 50% and then 50% when I'm done. Like, yes, just send us your invoice and done. So you can sell something before you make it. and you can give people a visual of something before you make. And then if it's something that they can't give you money for, at least you can also give them, put them on a wait list. Like, okay, they say, yeah, we're committed, especially if it's big corporates. Like, we're committed. When you make this, we're going to buy it. It's like, cool. Could you write me a letter to say you're going to buy? And if it's true, they will write the letter. If they refuse, like, no, I can't write that. You also need to be careful because it means they might not want to do that. Okay. So I'm going to run this like through this very quickly. Then the 9 areas that investors look at are, before we run out of time completely, is 9 areas that investors look at are the problem. Okay, do you understand the problem? Is it clear? Then the solution, we talked about that. Then the product. The product is the method in which you deliver the solution. The solution is, I'll help you lose weight with cabbages, and my product could be cabbage capsules, right? Or a cabbage blender, or cabbage IV. And then the market, how big is the market? Then there's also the model, which is your business model, revenue model. How do you make money? Then they also look at your scale. Can this scale? If we're making cabbage capsules, like, yeah, cabbage capsules, we can just ship them and they can go. They last long on the shelf. But if you're saying we're doing smoothies, cabbage smoothies, like, okay, what's the shelf life? And then we say, oh, we only do fresh smoothies made every day. It's like, okay, how many people do you need to make that every day, and how many can you serve realistically in a day? Then that's on the scale. Then the team. If you're saying you're building something that is very very tech heavy, you will need somebody on the team who say, yes, I understand nutrition, I understand cabbage formulations, or I know how to build rockets, I've done that, or I know somebody who can build this, who I can work with. Then the exit is, can this business be bought, or can it IPO, or is there something that makes sure that we have a return? Okay. Then, 9th, very importantly, is the traction. Traction speaks louder than words. We talk about that all the time. So you can assess yourself and here the same thing that you talk. The same 9 areas. Just rank yourself there on a scale of 1 to 5. Okay. So, what do investors want? In one word, they want to see massive returns. Okay, what makes a business produce massive returns is what we talked about today, and we'll also talk about is what we talked about today, and what produces that is really, can you scale? Do you have a team? And how big is the market? And can you pivot very, very quickly? That's what it is. That's what produces returns. And then tomorrow we're going to talk about how to pitch your business in 1 sentence, where to find investors, what to do to fast track your journey, and we talk about the 10-slide pitch deck. Cool. So tell us what has been your number 1 takeaway out of today's session. Type it in the chat box while I answer some questions, and then we will close. Okay. Cool. Tawia, I hope I pronounce your name correctly, if it's Tawia or Tawaya. How do you know if the customer agrees with your solution if your problem solution fit does not necessarily involve the customer directly? For instance, if your solution answers the socioeconomic problem your country is faced with. So there we talked about, in that case, socioeconomic are much harder. It depends, because your customer is the people paying. So when you have a double-sided marketplace, or you will have a business to government to consumer, or business to consumer, your customer is the person paying you money. They need to agree with you. Okay, they need to agree with you, and so you need to sell to them and talk to them. And how you do it is really talk and ask questions and listen. Ask questions and listen. A lot of people actually, they go into a sales pitch and they talk more than the customer. That's like, don't do that. When you go into a sales pitch, listen. So for me, going to sell corporate, I'll prepare my slides, because corporate loves slides, right? I will go and they say, okay, cool, show us your presentation. So, okay, yes, I'd love to show you my presentation, but before I do, is it okay if I ask you a few questions? They say, yeah, sure. Then say, what is important to you regarding this? And then they start talking, then I'm taking down notes. Okay, how does success look like for you? Take down notes. And then in the end, now if I have to talk through the presentation, I use their words. Say, this would do this would do that. And then they go, oh my gosh, you're so amazing. How do you know all of those things that are important to us? Like, I know because I just asked you and you just told me. And they say, you are the best. So just like we love people who agree with us, who say, you know what you said. It's like, yeah, what I said. Because everybody just loves to be heard. Same thing in sales. Listen to your customers and show that you heard them. They'll love you. They'll be like, yeah, we want to work with you. Even when you say, you know what, I don't have a solution for this. No. We need to do something together. Like, I like you. I want to work with you. Okay? So that's that's what you do in that case. Tawaya. Tumelo, thank you for that execution in the name of the game. That's a takeaway. Thanks for sharing that. And then there's a few questions. A question from Maureen. Where are genuine investors found and how can one approach them? Maureen will answer this question tomorrow. That's tomorrow's session. We'll show you where they are and how you can approach them. One quick answer. They are here at Startup Circles on month end. The people who have been through Startup Circles, the alumni, they get invited to the demo day at the month end. Paul Ugbong says, we are a startup that is at seed funding level. We're in the logistics and delivery sector. How can we be linked to Startup Circles that are the Startup Circles investors that say they're interested in startups that are doing logistics? So everybody in our startup program gets connected to the investors there. Okay, Paul. And if you are post revenue, yes, by all means, and you know how to pitch, you got your 10th live pitch deck, send it over, please. Yeah, we'll refer you to them. And then any early stage seed funding opportunities, you can refer us. They are there on Startup Circle. So something that Sarah from Enigma said was that they love working with Startup Circles because a lot of times the people who have been through the Startup Circles program are way better at presenting their ideas compared to people who have not. It says it's like chalk and cheese. Like, you can see the difference. It's like, you ask, like, what is your business? They can just say what their business is. Other people, I've been into certain pitches, like the demo days, where people actually just talk for 5 minutes and still like, we don't understand what this is. Like, people just go through this deck and they are not saying what the business does. And for me, I blame the accelerators. And because a lot of them actually, but okay, partly, I partly blame them. Partly because they know what they know. A lot of accelerators, people running accelerators are employed, so they've got a salary, and then they're told what to ask you. They say, give us a business plan, and then you show them the business plan. Oh, cool, okay. Let's do the business model canvas. Cool, you do the business model canvas. Let's do the projections. Let's do all of that. In the end, like, investors are saying, you're not investor ready. Because why? Saying, where's your traction? How big is your market? Can you execute? What's the go-to-market plan? Show us your results. Like, I can't, I don't know, I don't have. So we shortcut that process by just telling you things that matter, and everybody in our program gets feedback from investors and founders every week. How cool is that? Every week. That's how we do it. Cool. Let's see any other feedback and questions. Cool. Your key takeaways. TM says, thanks. This was so insightful. Thanks for another great session. You're welcome. Thanks, Jason. Thanks to Melo. Angelica, asking your potential customers what they would pay for a product. Excellent. Tawaya, like, would investors lose interest in ideas that seek to solve multiple problems? Yes, that's a clear answer. Yes, they'll lose interest because you don't seem focused. It's like you're going into football. The coach says, "What number can you play?" Oh, I can play anything. I play number one. I play two. I play number nine in front. I can play on the left. I can play like, okay, you are general dealers, so it's not attractive. It's best to focus on the things that's making you money and things that can really grow. Okay. Cool. Um, Great. Okay, Vijay, I don't understand what you're referring to. So I wanted to join, but wasn't sure which one was we fit in. I think it's already started and too late for us. I'm not sure what you're referring to. If it's the programs, we run programs monthly. So the ignition program is going to start. We are opening the course. We are opening it tomorrow. Actually, the applications, and then the program starts next month. Then the other program starts. We're opening next month, and it starts next month as well. Funky, no. What if you see a gap in entertainment, especially that can also be family oriented and touch on tourism as well? The problem then being not having enough information on investors in your area. Okay, so the problem is not that actually. The problem is really, can you show you can make money? So when you're just thinking ideas, the best thing to do is start executing and then show people like, look at the money that I've made. Nothing attracts money like money. Okay? And so people don't go to an empty restaurant. You should know that. Just like people don't go to people who don't have anything. It's sad, but that's what it is. Like people say, "Oh, now that I'm rich, all my relatives are calling you." Yeah, when you had nothing, they didn't call you because there was nothing. It's sad. This is one of my friends. One of my friends told me, like, don't be mad because people are not like we were saying. Like now that you have made it, everybody's saying like, "Hey, where are you? What are you doing?" We all get inspiration from that, but it's the same thing we do all the time. That we go we when we are going to a restaurant, if you go to a place and you don't know which restaurant to go into, you look at the one that's got people, and people go into a restaurant that already has people. And sadly, it works the same way for relationships. Like if you're single, it's hard to get someone, right? Like, but when you have someone, it's easier to have somebody, and when you're married, it's even easier to get people. Sadly, okay, that's how it is. And so you should know that money follows money. And then what you do then is, if you want to show that you got money, start selling. Get people to pay you some money or to commit that they'll pay you money. When people see that, then more people join and people start believing that this is viable. But if you're doing nothing, it's very difficult to convince other people to to start giving you money. So humans, including investors also invest in companies that have got other investors coming in, because one, they don't want to miss out, but also if they take a chance on you, they don't want to make mistakes. Remember what we talked about: 90% of startups fail, and then 75% of funded businesses fail. Cool. Cool. Vijay is saying wanted to join but wasn't sure which one we fit in. I think it's already started. And too late for us. There's a lot of programs for startups. That's true. There are a lot of programs for startups. It really depends on what you want, Vijay. So for us, we're very specific in what we're offering. It's helping people. Like the launch program is for people who have ideas of very early stage. They're not making money yet. Whether you've launched in early stage, you've got a business running, but you're not making money, launch is for you. If you've got an existing business and you're trying to raise money and you're struggling to raise money, we encourage you to get into the Ignition program. That's what we do at Startup Cycle. So very clear, it's those two programs. Then there's the program that Yeah, seed stage growth scale. At scale, you won't struggle to raise money. So you probably seed stage, and yeah, in the growth phase or the early stage of the growth phase. Cool. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. It's been great. It's been great. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Well done on day 2 of 3 of Startup Circles, how to launch a business that attracts investors. So well done for everybody for coming through today. Encourage you to stay in the course, stay in the game. You've invested a lot of time already, and I'm certain that you've gained a lot of knowledge, but nothing changes if nothing changes. Here I'm guiding you, and Startup Circles is guiding you, and we get a lot of other people that we'll share with you tomorrow that we have on the program that guide you and whose time is very difficult to get one-on-one. And that's what makes our program like super, super useful. But we've got all that knowledge from all these different amazing people and put it together for you for free. So the least you can do is just put this into action. Take action. Then you won't waste your time, the time that you've already put into your business, and waste the money that you've already put into your business. So you think about what can you do going forward that will change the pathway you are at. Right now, you're doing what you're doing and you're getting the results you're getting. If you want something to change, you do something differently. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Remember, as an entrepreneur, you got the power to change the course, not just of your life, but your family's life and of other people, and leave a legacy. So see you tomorrow. Tomorrow is also going to be like super packed, super valuable, and we'll make sure that all the links are working and we are so ready for everybody. Thank you very much, everybody. It's good seeing you, Offense, Sevi, David, Punzile, Halidu, Mamkele, Mjele, Angelica, Shirley Lion, Funkino, Matthew from Namibia, Irene, Daphne, Mjele Marco, VJ, of course, Punzile, Piwe, Noni, Peter, Ude, Daniel, one of our alumni, Mukupo, Ursula, Pina, Brandon, Jason. Excellent. Thanks for joining us, everybody. W. Carey, Tumelo. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, James Chama, Heza, Tiseto, good to see you again. Christine, Canon Kawechabanda, good to see you. Khotsi, Setungwane. Excellent, excellent. Good to see everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you if I missed out your name, but to see you again tomorrow. Peter, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Cheers. We'll see you tomorrow. If you think that somebody, you think of somebody that would benefit from this, just send them the link, startupcircles.ai. We have they can click on the registration page and they'll get all the things that they have missed. Okay. Yes, Canon, that's very, very cool. Effective execution trumps being a pioneer. That's true. That's true. Yes. People don't care how new your idea is. It's really like, can you do it? Have you done it? Can you do it sustainably? Cool. Brilliant. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a fantastic evening. See you tomorrow. Bye.